Thank you all so much. I know this is hard to even compress what we have to say because there's so much, and I deeply appreciate all the personal stories and the work that all of you are doing. We're now going to proceed under the 5-minute rule for questions, and I think we're going to have somebody sit right up here because we don't have a timer like we normally do. So this is Morgan. Thank you, Morgan, for being our human timer. And helping us to make sure we stay on time so we can get out to the hearing, to the press conference on time. All right, I'm going to start with mine. Ms. Jesus Alejandre, the Trump administration keeps making these claims that those of you who are doing rapid response work are somehow assaulting ICE or standing in the way of impeding ICE. Can you just set the record straight for us and tell us about what the rapid response networks are doing and the work that you're doing to support communities who are under attack and being terrorized by ICE?
Rapid responders are regular people. Like, clearly, this is our weapon and this one. Document one. We don't know who's coming into community. They're masked and unmarked cars, often looking like they bought something off of Amazon. Like they bought a uniform off of Amazon. So we don't know. So there's an alert that goes out, right? So you hear people honking horn, and these are just regular Chicagoans, right? Some people have gone through training around what does an ICE agent look like and what does Customs and Border Patrol person look like, right? But often they don't look like any of that, right? And so these are folks who've been trained just to know, and also to know the rights, right? And how to try to stay calm in a situation, to remind everyone, regardless of their immigration status, what are the constitutional rights. And the impeding, right? They will say our presence is impeding. Right, our yelling is
documenting, right?
And
you're
our
documenting so that we have a record.
They don't want to be documented because everything that they're doing is illegal, it's unconstitutional, it's violent, and it's dangerous. And so the mere fact of us just being present on our porches yelling, they're saying that that's impeding, and it's not. We have the right to do all of those things, and our footage is being used in court.
Yeah.
Right, and they obviously don't want that. However, again, what we need is enforcement of those court rulings as well in our community.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate, Mr. Fee, you're saying that we're doing a shadow hearing, but we're bringing light to this because I think that documentation is a critical piece of the court records. ProPublica recently published this shocking investigation that revealed that ICE and the federal agents that work with them have detained at least 170 American citizens during their immigration enforcement actions. They accuse many of the citizens of, quote, obstructing or interfering with enforcement, even of assault, and they only had those charges then fall apart under any kind of scrutiny, going past the bluster, as you said. Here in Chicago, we know that there have been multiple U.S. citizens who were reportedly detained during an immigration raid. Can you just talk a little bit about how the aggressive tactics of the administration are violating the rights of everybody? And again, a reminder that due process rights accrue to everybody, but can you just talk about that for anyone who might be watching the live stream and wondering, how does this affect me? I'm not an immigrant. I'm not, whatever label they might want to attach to that.
Absolutely. And you only have to look at two of the many pretty well-publicized incidents over the last few weeks of very broad-based raids in Chicago to see that many U.S. citizens, for example, are swept up in these raids. There was a military-style attack on a South Shore apartment building, a 130-unit building that you mentioned, Member Jayapal, in your opening remarks, where they simply rounded people up, according to reports, and asked questions later. Now, law enforcement is supposed to work the opposite way. It's supposed to be targeted. You're supposed to get a warrant for a particular person who you have reason to believe has committed a crime and go over that person. Go over to find that person pursuant to a warrant. You're not supposed to essentially stage a hostage operation where you round people up and then release the people that you don't want after zip tying them in the back of U-Hauls for a few hours. They were zip tying children at that building. And that's only one example. There was a work crew at a cemetery in Forest Park that was recently gassed. They had their belongings taken from them. One of them had to go to the hospital while still shackled for hours and was released into the street in a hospital gown without his keys, without his wallet, with no way to even get into his own house. And he didn't even know what if anything, he had done wrong. This is a U.S. citizen as well. So this is not affecting some small band of people. And if folks think that they are not at risk, I'm afraid they're sorely mistaken.
Thank you so much. I am now going to, my time has expired, so I'm now going to recognize our members, and we're going to start with my colleague from the state of Illinois who's been such a help in organizing this hearing, Mr. Garcia.